I gifted my parents a $480,000 lakeside cabin for their 45th anniversary. When I walked in with the keys, my mother was sobbing on the kitchen floor and my father was locked out on the porch in the rain. My brother's wife stood in the doorway, arms crossed, and told my dad, "This isn't your house anymore. Go sit in your car." My brother smirked behind her until he saw what I was holding. My name's Roman. I'm 39, the middle kid, the quiet one, the one nobody calls unless something is already on fire. I'm a forensic accountant. I spend my days reading other people's lies in spreadsheets. I can tell when a number is hiding something the way a doctor can tell when a cough is hiding pneumonia. I don't drink. I don't post. I keep 2 suits, 4 shirts, and a running list of every dollar I've ever lent that never came back. I grew up in a house where the heat got shut off twice a winter, and my mother heated water on the stove so we could wash our hair like it was a spa day instead of an emergency. I learned early that the world rewards people who stay calm while everyone else screams. My parents hit 45 years married last month. 45 years of patched coats, double shifts, and pretending the car wasn't making that sound. I wanted to give them something that didn't smell like struggle. I found a cedar cabin on a quiet lake, 3 hours north. 2 bedrooms, a stone fireplace, a dock that creaked in a friendly way, and a kitchen window that looked straight at the water. $480,000. I paid cash from 12 years of saving every bonus and skipping every vacation my co-workers took to Mexico. I put the deed in an irrevocable trust with my parents, named as lifetime occupants. I prepaid the property taxes for 15 years. I stocked the pantry with my mom's brand of tea and hid a card under her pillow that said, "Finally, a quiet place for the 2 loudest hearts I know." I told only Mom and Dad. We drove up on a Friday. Dad ran his hand along the log walls like he was checking if they were real. Mom opened the fridge and started crying because there was already milk in it. We sat on the dock and watched a heron pretend we weren't there. I drove back to the city Sunday night and felt, for the first time in years, like I had done something that couldn't be undone. I should explain my brother before the part where the porch had a man on it in the rain. Lionel is 4 years older. In our family, he was the golden one. The loud one. The one with the firm handshake and the bad business ideas. My parents bankrolled 3 of them. A food truck that never left the driveway. A consulting company with no clients. A crypto thing he won't explain even now. Every time it collapsed, my parents covered the landing, and I covered them. I paid their property tax the year Lionel borrowed it. I replaced their water heater the winter he took my dad's emergency credit card to a casino in Reno. I never told them I knew. I just paid. His wife, Marisol, came into the family 8 years ago with a smile like a closed door and a habit of calling my mother by her first name in a tone that wasn't friendly. They have no kids, just 2 enormous dogs, and a lot of opinions about what other people owe them. 3 days after I left the cabin, my mother called me. Her voice was the small voice she uses when she's already decided not to make a fuss. Lionel and Marisol drove up. They wanted to see the place. They said they'd just stay one night. I asked how she sounded. She said, "Fine, sweetheart. Don't worry." She was not fine. My mother says, "Don't worry," the way other people say, "Help." The next morning, Dad texted me, "Cabin feels strange." Marisol moved our things to the small room, said the master is for guests. I was in a deposition, reading a CFO's expense reports. I stepped out, called Dad, no answer, called Mom, no answer, called the neighbor across the lake, an older woman named Pris, who I'd introduced myself to when I closed on the place. Pris picked up on the second ring. "Roman, honey, I was about to call you. Your father is sitting in his car. It's been raining for an hour." I left the deposition. I drove 3 hours and 2.5. I called a locksmith on the way. I called the trust attorney. I called Pris back and asked her to bring my father a towel and a cup of coffee and tell him his son was coming. She said, "Already done, sweetheart. He's in my kitchen now. He won't say what happened. He just keeps apologizing. My father apologizes when other people hurt him. It's the thing about him that has always broken me clean in half." I pulled into the gravel driveway at 6 in the evening. The rain had stopped. The sky was the color of an old bruise. Lionel's truck was parked sideways across 2 spaces like the cabin belonged to a man who couldn't be bothered to straighten his own wheels. The front door was open. Country music was playing inside. I could hear Marisol laughing at something on her phone. I walked in. My mother was on the kitchen floor, back against the cabinets, knees pulled up, holding a dish towel against her face, not crying loud, crying the way she used to cry when she thought we were asleep. Marisol turned, saw me, and her face did a small calculation and landed on a smile. "Oh, Roman, we weren't expecting you. Your mom got a little upset. She'll be okay." Lionel came out of the bedroom in my father's bathrobe holding a beer. "Hey, little brother. Glad you're here. We need to talk about some stuff." I knelt down next to my mother. "Where's Dad?" She couldn't say it. She just pointed at the window. I looked out and saw nothing because Pris had already brought him in across the water. Marisol said he needed to cool off. He was being difficult. I asked what difficult meant. Lionel jumped in. "He doesn't get it, man. Mom and Dad can't handle a place like this. Stairs, the dock, the drive. Marisol and I are going to take it over. We'll let them visit. It's the responsible move. I didn't say anything yet. I helped my mother up. I sat her in the chair by the window. I poured her a glass of water. I asked her quietly, "Did Marisol put her hands on you?" She shook her head. Then she nodded. Then she whispered, "She grabbed my arm when I tried to go out to your father." I looked at my mother's arm. There was a red mark above her elbow shaped like 4 fingers. I have spent 15 years of my career being calm in rooms where other people were panicking. I have sat across from men who stole from charities and women who cooked the books of their own parents' nursing homes. I do not raise my voice. I make notes. I file things. I have sent people to prison with a quieter face than most people use to order coffee. I stood up. I walked to the front door. I called out toward Pris's place across the water. "Dad, come home." He came over the little wooden footbridge, slow, in Pris's husband's coat. He stepped onto the porch. I held the door open for him. He walked in. I closed the door behind him and turned the deadbolt. Marisol said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Sit down." She didn't. Lionel said, "Roman, don't make this weird." I said, "Sit down, Lionel," and something in my voice did the work my voice usually doesn't have to do. He sat. I set my work bag on the table. I took out a folder. I laid 5 things on the wood, one at a time, the way I lay exhibits in front of a jury. 1. The deed. This cabin is owned by an irrevocable trust. My parents are the lifetime occupants. Neither of you is named anywhere on this document. 2. The trust instrument. I am the trustee. That means I have a legal duty to remove anyone who interferes with my parents' use of this property. Not a right, a duty. 3. A printed screenshot. This is the listing you posted on a vacation rental site at 2:14 this afternoon, Marisol. From the IP address at this cabin. I have a friend at the platform. The listing was flagged before you finished uploading photos. 4. A printed bank statement. This is the account you opened last week, Lionel, in Mom and Dad's names, without their knowledge, using their social security numbers. I pulled it this morning when Dad's text didn't sit right. That's identity theft. That's a felony in this state. I have not filed yet. 5. A photograph. I had taken it 30 seconds earlier on my phone and airdropped it to the printer in the office nook. It was my mother's arm. The 4 red marks. Marisol made a sound like a small animal. "Here is what is going to happen," I said. "You are going to pack your bags in the next 20 minutes. You are going to leave Dad's bathrobe on the bed. You are going to get in your truck and drive back to the city. Tomorrow morning, you are going to a notary, and you are going to sign a document my attorney is drafting tonight that closes the fraudulent account, returns every dollar withdrawn, and acknowledges in writing that you have no claim on this property or anything inside it. If you do all of that, I will not file the police report about the bank account. I will not file the assault report about my mother's arm. I will not call the rental platform's fraud line, which I have on speed dial because I testify for them twice a year." Lionel tried to laugh. It came out wrong. "You wouldn't do that to your own brother," I said. "I am doing it to my own brother. The question is, how much of it?" Marisol started to speak. I held up one finger. "If you say one more word to my mother tonight that isn't an apology, I add the assault charge back to the list." She closed her mouth. The doorbell rang. Victor, the locksmith, who I had called from the highway. He was holding a new deadbolt and a keypad lock in a small black case. Lionel looked at the locksmith. He looked at me. He looked at the 5 things on the table. He stood up and went to the bedroom and started putting his clothes in a duffel bag without saying anything at all. It took them 18 minutes. Marisol tried, on the way out, to catch my mother's eye. My mother was looking at my father, who was looking at the lake, who was finally inside his own house. Marisol said, "Ruth," and I stepped between them and said, "Her name is Mom. You haven't earned the other one." She walked past me. The truck started. The gravel crunched. They were gone. I locked the door. Victor changed the deadbolt and programmed the keypad to a code my father picked. My mother's birthday. Backwards. Pris came across with a casserole because women like Pris always know when a casserole is the right tool. My mother stood up from the chair and walked to my father and put her forehead against his shoulder and didn't say anything for a long time. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop and sent the email to my attorney. I attached the 5 things. I CC'd nobody. I closed the laptop. I looked up. My father was standing in the kitchen in dry clothes, holding 2 cups of tea, one for my mother and one for me. He set mine down in front of me. He put his hand on the back of my neck the way he used to when I was small and had done something he didn't have words for. He said, "Thank you, son." That was all. I drank the tea. Outside the window, the lake had gone glassy and black, and somewhere on it, the heron was still pretending we weren't there.